Antonio Brown. Just hearing his name sparks a reaction. Maybe you picture him doing that unbelievable toe tap catch on the sideline. Maybe it's the viral clip of him returning a punt and literally kicking a punter in the face mid-stride. Or maybe you picture him storming off the field mid-game, ripping his jersey off, and waving to the crowd like a rock star walking off stage. Love him or hate him, Antonio Brown was impossible to ignore. But here's the million-dollar question: how good was Antonio Brown actually? Was he just a talented player who wasted his shot, or did we witness one of the most dominant wide receivers in NFL history? Today, we're going to unpack the rise, the peak, the chaos, and the legacy of Antonio Brown. Backhand index pointing right before we dive in. If Antonio Brown had never had the controversies, do you think he would have been a first-ballot Hall of Famer? Drop your answer in the comments. I'll be checking them. Born in Miami, Florida, Antonio was surrounded by athletic DNA. His father, Touchdown Eddie Brown, was a legendary arena football player. Yet, Antonio wasn't the golden child people expected. He had a rough upbringing. By age 16, he was kicked out of his home, bouncing between couches and even living with friends. In high school, despite insane athletic ability, he didn't get offers from powerhouse programs. Instead, he ended up at Central Michigan University. Think about this. Guys like Julio Jones went to Alabama, A.J. Green went to Georgia. Antonio Brown had to fight for visibility in the Mid-American Conference. He went undrafted until the 6th round, pick 195. For context, the Steelers drafted him after they had already taken another wide receiver. That's how little confidence teams had in him. His first career catch? A 19-yard gain, in the Super Bowl. Talk about pressure. Backhand index pointing right audience moment. If your very first NFL catch was in the Super Bowl, do you think that would motivate you, or paralyze you with nerves? I know I'd be shaking in my cleats. 2011, Brown bursts onto the scene with over 1,100 yards, as the third option. What set him apart wasn't just skill, it was obsession. Teammates said he was always the first to arrive, last to leave, running routes with practice squad players after everyone else had gone home. Story time. Troy Polamalu once said Brown would run routes against defenders during walkthroughs at full speed, like it was a playoff game. That's how serious he was. By 2013, Mike Wallace left for Miami, and suddenly, Antonio Brown was the Steelers' WR1. He embraced it. That year, he had 1,499 yards, proving he wasn't just a role player. He was a superstar in the making. And then came the viral highlight. Returning a punt against the Browns, Brown literally karate-kicked punter Spencer Lanning in the face mask while trying to hurdle him. Illegal? Absolutely. Entertaining? One of the most unforgettable plays of the decade. This 6-year stretch? Legendary. 2013 to 2018 totals. 686 receptions. 9,145 yards. 67 TDs. That's averaging 114 catches, 1,524 yards, and 11 TDs per season. For perspective, Jerry Rice's best 6-year run, 1989 to 1994, averaged about the same yardage, but Rice had Hall of Fame QB play and fewer off-field distractions. Fire key games and moments. 2015 vs. Raiders, 17 catches, 284 yards. Immaculate Extension. On Christmas 2016, AB stretched the ball across the goal line in the final seconds versus the Ravens, clinching the division. Still one of the most iconic Steelers plays ever. 2017 season, despite missing 2 games, he still had 1,533 yards. That year, he was in MVP talks, unheard of for a wide receiver. Backhand index pointing right question for the comments. Do you think Antonio Brown should have won MVP in 2017? Quarterbacks always dominate the award, but AB's impact that season was ridiculous. Pushpin what made him special? Route running. Defenders said he was unpredictable, never ran a route the same way twice. Footwork. Arguably the best toe-tap sideline artist of his generation. Hands reliable under pressure, rarely dropped big passes. YC yards after catch once the ball was in his hands, it was like he turned into a running back. Brown was a technician. Unlike Randy Moss, who dominated with size, or Tyreek Hill, who relies on pure speed, Brown's game was built on craft and relentless detail. 7 times Pro Bowl, 4 times first-team All-Pro, 2 times receiving yards leader, 2 times receptions leader, 1 times receiving TDs leader. At his peak, he was compared to Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, and Calvin Johnson. But here's the thing. Unlike Calvin's freakish size or Moss's vertical dominance, AB was just 5 feet 10 inches, 185 pounds. He wasn't supposed to be this good. And yet, he was unguardable. Thought balloon hypothetical. If Brown had kept his career clean and played 15 full seasons like Larry Fitzgerald, would we be debating him as the GOAT? Or at least top 3? And then, it all unraveled. 2018. Fallout with Steelers. Missed the final game of the season after clashing with Ben Roethlisberger. 2019 Raiders era. Helmet drama. Frostbitten feet from cryotherapy. Bizarre arguments with GM Mike Mayock. Released before playing a single game. Patriots, 1 game. 1 touchdown. Then released after more controversy. Buccaneers, the redemption arc. Won a Super Bowl with Brady in 2020. But by 2021, the infamous Jets game meltdown, shirtless exit, mid-game wave to the crowd. It was one of the most shocking live moments in NFL history. Backhand index pointing right engagement moment. What did you think when you first saw that? I remember scrolling Twitter thinking, is this real or is this some parody video? So, how good was Antonio Brown actually? On the field, top 10 WR of all time in terms of peak dominance. Maybe top 5. Off the field, a cautionary tale of wasted potential. If he had just 4 to 5 more clean seasons, we're talking first ballot Hall of Fame. Instead, he's a case study in self-destruction. But one thing's undeniable. When Antonio Brown was locked in, he was the best receiver in football. Period. Backhand index pointing right closing question. So now I'll throw it to you. Do you remember Antonio Brown more for his legendary catches, or for his legendary chaos? Drop your thoughts below. This debate is going to be interesting.